Welcome to TarValon Talks. In this episode, recorded live at the first ever Spring Fling in St. Louis, Missouri, the Gaidin take over the podcast and talk about the company's roles within the tower. Be sure to stick around to the end when our hosts reflect on Season 1 and look towards the future for Season 2, as well as a special surprise.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of TarValon Talks. We have a very special episode today. We are at the first ever TarValon.net Spring Fling, and in celebration of that, we have a Warder Company takeover of the podcast. So we have representatives from our Warder companies here, and they're going to give us a little bit of insight on what it means to be a Warder, how that's different than being a part of the Aja, and they're just going to share with us some really super crazy stories I'm anticipating. Looking around the room here, I can already tell that this is coming. So, Will, you want to kick us off?
Sure. My name's Will Cambray. I've been a Warder of the SCS, Sanda Mashadar, for about 20 years now.
My name is Annalise Sinclair, or Anna, and I am a Warder of Sanda Mashadar. I am actually the first female in Sanda Mashadar, and I've been a part of this illustrious company for 5 years.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ivan Winshaw, current company commander of Di Mahel, also known as DM. I've been a member since 2009, and was raised Gaidin at 10th Annie in Charleston, South Carolina back in 2011.
And I'm Alexer Alpetros, the newest Gaidin, raised at Jordan Con 2024 in MDD, the Fox Company. So super excited to be here and chatting about the awesome companies that are part of TarValon.net.
So I think it is important to call out when Alex says that he's the newest, he was literally raised 2 weeks ago, right?
In fact, the person that ruined my life and took me from the shenanigans junior membership to the awesome responsibilities of Gaidin that we're going to talk about, she's in the room. My mistress of accepted as soldiers. So but it was exciting getting raised at JCon. I mean, a lot of the other members of my company, MDD, are there, as well as a lot of our bond mates that are from the Brown Aj. So super excited about that. And I was totally ambushed, totally surprised, had no idea it was coming. And in fact, shortly thereafterwards, I was not only raised by a blue, but I bonded a blue Aes Sedai. So
that is
super excited about that. Yeah, ISIS, they may have been plotting for a while.
Oh yeah,
Those blues, those tricksy blues.
Well, absolutely no one is surprised about who you bonded. That was fast, man.
She makes really good brownies.
It doesn't take much. That's amazing. So one of the reasons why myself in particular, there may be other reasons why other people wanted to kind of do a Gaidin takeover of the podcast, is the idea of having Warder companies. While they exist in the world of Wheel of Time, they're not spoken about a lot. There's not a whole lot of lore. There's not a whole lot of information about the Warder companies in the books themselves, in the core series. And while we know way more about the Ajas, we don't know a whole lot about the Warder companies. So what exactly makes, as far as what exists on TarValon.net, what makes Warder companies different?
I don't know. It's been a while since I've read the series, but don't think there was anything mentioned in world of a differentiation between groups of Warders. They were just loyal to their Aes Sedai and the Amaryllis seat. And so I think when our founder, I'm so sorry, I remember her real life name and can't remember her tower name. When she created the tower, she had there was no thoughts at the founding to have anything related to Warders. But then it kind of came about as the membership grew. And then I guess Will can attest to this better than I can about, how there was not really a place for the guys to hang out, and grew from there.
Here's the thing. I wasn't around them, but I heard stories. I know there was history before me, but when she first created the site, it was just Aes Sedai. And she made a public site, and for some reason, men started showing up and asking to join too. And so for a while there, she was wondering what the heck to do with us. I mean, so she had, they bonded, they become warders. But then it was like, well, we need some organization for them to be a part of, just so that, they have something outside of their Aes Sedai.
Because at the time, only women,
Yeah.
only people who identified as female could join the Ajas. Correct.
Yes.
And how has that since changed?
I can't remember exactly how long ago, because I was actually on real life hiatus at the time, but several time ago we integrated, meaning women could now become warders and men could now become Sedai, and a lot have taken advantage of that, myself included, because I never identified with the magic user. I wanted to be Brigitte. I wanted to wield a sword and be a defender. I didn't want to do magic. Like, it's cool, but I want to be a warrior. And I wasn't allowed to be. And then suddenly I was. I actually came back from hiatus, was cleaned up, and had to start over, but I was so thrilled because I could start over as a recruit. And that's exactly what I did. And now I'm a bear, and I love it, and I really feel like Brigitte would be a bear too. She would be a bear. Brigitte
I was
would be a bear.
as you were talking about. There's no reference to these companies in the Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
And which there's not.
There is.
But there is the one company of he who should not be named. The man everybody hates in the Wheel of Time. Wayne's Younglings. Right? Like, oh my God. I told you.
As everybody rolls their eyes.
Do you know in the
But
early
he did
days?
have
In
a
the
company.
early days, unbonded warders were called younglings.
Yes.
Oh
which
my
I'm
God.
so glad I
am
missed that
so
part.
glad I was
Because
there.
that's a terrible title.
Oh, jeez.
There is one reference to
But there
SES.
is-
But there is
There is
actually,
a
we are
reference
in
to
the
SES,
books.
but not a company of warders.
It's in one of Matt's
One of Matt's
military
dreams.
memories. His
It's the
memories
last
that,
one.
like, the stitched-in memories from
Yeah.
the Elfin Nathan.
But that's in one of the.
He remembers
But
Sand
it's
and
one of the
Meshadar.
more recent books, correct? Like it's
Yeah.
it's a retcon
Yeah.
put in there
It's one of the
by
last books. What?
Brandon Sanderson.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
A little bit. I mean, it's a little bit of
But-
retcon.
it's
I mean,
not the
because
first
when-
time that's happened though. Bow.
Yep.
His name was not Bow originally.
Right.
He was put in the books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The petition
Oh,
to
yeah.
be done.
Yeah.
That
Oh, yeah,
was
that's-
to be done.
Absolutely.
And that happened for us.
Yeah.
The company petitioned. I think it might have been Sean actually who did that.
Yes.
Sean petitioned for SDS as a whole to be in the books. And
Really? Like,
Yes.
so SDS wasn't in the books until somebody from TarValon.net petitioned
No.
Sanderson to put SDS
Well,
in the
it was
books?
a reward for a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
Oh, look, we got the
We-
fourth
and we have
company
a
here.
fourth company.
There we go.
We have
We are
another
complete.
warder.
Woo!
We have
say
a
hi,
quorum.
we're on.
Sorry
All
to
right, wonderful.
sorry to
It's
hijack your life
okay,
as soon as
yeah.
you get here.
He just got ambushed.
I'm not surprised.
So we have another Gaidin that just joined us. You want to share with us your tower name and your warder company?
Yeah, I'm Attain Val'Cueran, and my company is Val'Cueran.
Oh.
And how many grays are you bounded to?
You.
And I do know that DC was the last of the 4 companies to be made. We had the 3 companies.
No.
No.
MDD.
Oh, I thought it was
MDD.
DC.
MDD
Yeah.
broke off of
Everybody.
Every
Everybody.
Well,
yeah.
everybody. Like, we
Yeah,
had
but there was a
several
big-
bears
yeah.
that we
We lost
initially.
2.
Yeah.
I want to say follow up something that Anna said though. So when she came in, she didn't identify with the magic user, and I was the same. I just guessed at companies, right? And I love the Ajas. I love the Aes Sedai. I think it's great, but like I had no interest in that. And for me, the companies was the right place. And so when I came to TarValon.net, right, like I'm like, am I going to fit in? And here was a place that I could fit in, right? Because like you and I think the magic users are cool,
Yeah,
but,
but
give me a blade
it's
and let
not
me chop
me.
somebody's head off.
Yes, thank you. Give me hand to hand, or like
Melee.
some kind of like. That's what I
Yeah.
like. Even a game, I don't play magic user.
Right.
It's too complicated. I would much rather just swing a sword, please.
So Will, Attain, Ivanor, I'd be interested. Did you guys ever consider joining a Naja, or was it always, you know what, this is my place?
It wasn't an option when we were
Yeah.
coming through the tower at the time. So I personally never thought about it. I mean, you take all those fun little online tests to say, oh, what Aja are you? And you answer the questions, and it kind of does one of those personality tests to put you in something. And so, I mean, I did that, and I was all over the board for whatever reason. So I'm like, yeah. When the opportunity arose, did I ever think about demoting and trying out all the Ajas? Not really. It was one of those things. It didn't fit who I was and who I had been on the boards, I guess, and in real life up to that point.
Yeah, I honestly, I found my home within a month or two of joining the site. I mean, it wasn't the first place I was going to go. I actually went through all the companies, and it's like, yeah, I really like the wolves because I identified with Perrin early on in reading the books.
Mm-hmm.
And that, of course, changed throughout the series.
Yeah.
And eventually it got to be like, who are the guys that I'm hanging out with in chat, late at night? And it's like, it's half of SDS.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the first thing the company commander told me when I asked to join was, can you please swear? He evidently thought that I was too
Too good?
white red or something. And I was like, okay, I will.
No, wait. So just for clarification purposes, is that a prerequisite for getting into
No, that was just a
SDS?
personal one for me.
Oh, I love it.
Baton, did you ever go company or Aja?
No, because again, when I first joined the site, I mean that wasn't, an option, which was fine. Like
Yeah.
I didn't foresee myself as a member of any Aja anyway. And so when I returned and found that what are we calling it? Desegregation or something like that.
Integration.
Whatever.
That works.
Desegregation.
I guested with some of the Ajas, but I still knew, like, from that point, I was like, I don't feel like being in an Aja, like, fits for me. Again, I love them, particularly the Greys, obviously, but, being in an Aja really never was a really serious option for me.
Soro, do you want to in on this?
Yeah, I'm guessing the discussion is if we ever considered.
Now, who are you?
Right. So,
Oh,
so before we start, you have to tell us your tower name and what your
I'm
order.
sorry, I am Saranin Kiria here, company commander of Sandima Shadar. And joining the discussion late, I apologize. I'm doing double duty this weekend as Master of Revels for Spring Fling as well.
Right.
And he's our boss.
Making sure everybody's behaving downstairs before I get to join the discussion. As far as the post-integration, kind of looking at Ajas over companies, for me, I think I kind of agree with what some of the other fellas said. I didn't feel like that was really something that fit for me. Having won a membership award for Gaidin, most representative of his company, I just kind of felt like I had my home pretty solidified, and I felt like demoting and looking at the Ajas at that point was not something that would be productive for me. I just felt like that would, almost be I don't want to say a slight against the brothers in my company, but like, when you find your home and you really feel like you belong in a membership group, I didn't really see any point to exploring other groups, especially with having a lot of history with the site, knowing so many senior members from the other groups and kind of understanding how those groups functioned. For me, I felt like I've had my home, and I don't think that's ever going to really change for me personally.
Yeah.
As much as I love some of the Ajas, I just can't see that really being a home for me long term.
Especially for as long as you've been on the site, like I feel like, and granted, in the grand scheme of things, I'm a baby. So I'm not even an Aes Sedai yet. So, but I can imagine, the longer you stay as a part of a particular group, unless something were to happen where you feel like you need to make a change, the longer you stay with that group, the more you feel like you're at home. This is your family.
And I feel like, especially with the companies, you forge those bonds of brotherhood. And when you get that core group of Gaidin who you really feel comfortable with, where you're like, hey, these guys are my brothers. They understand me. They understand my flaws. They get the positives, that I bring to the group and stuff. That's hard to step away from, or even think about stepping away from. There's just that level of trust amongst everyone where you're like, man, this really feels like a place where I belong.
I know for me, and it's weird being the only girl in Chambers, but it's also kind of great because I know that, no matter what happens, I can go to you guys and you'll listen to me and you'll let me rant. You'll give me encouragement. You'll give me a kick in the ass if I need it. You guys but you're there for me and you don't judge me and you really are my brothers. And I'm so, I don't know if I can curse on this, but I'm so fucking happy that you guys are my brothers and I wouldn't trade you for the world.
Well, that's what I mean.
You guys are excellent big brothers. Any girl would be so lucky.
I feel like Sandama Shadar, which is the only company I really can speak for because that's where my experience is. Once you become a group of, a part of that brotherhood, you're accepted in. Like I said, the good and the bad, we know who you are and we love you for that. So.
Will, did you have something?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think this is a pretty select group, but most of us have been company commander of one of the companies. And when you're a company commander, you kind of represent the company and you kind of make changes to it. So when you're a company commander, it kind of bends to what you are a little bit. And some of you is always left behind.
But I feel like you put a certain amount of yourself into that as well. Like you said, where even if the other members of the company aren't necessarily taking on your traits, they're like you said, they're bending to your will, no pun intended. And that's part of being a leader of the group, like you said, for sure.
Yeah. So we have dad joke aside. So we have all four water companies represented here, which is super awesome, and given the audience here at Spring Fling, somewhat surprising. Not gonna lie. Can we go through and can we try to explain some of the personality traits or what distinguishes your particular water company from the others? I'll give you a hot minute to think about it.
Look on Alice's face.
I've been a warder for a hot 2 weeks.
You're representing all of MDD, Alex. Don't screw this up.
You are going to get roasted, my man.
And given that Anna has allowed us to start swearing, no, I'm just kidding.
Okay, PG-13, guys. PG-13.
I bleeped myself.
I think a lot of people know me on site, and I think I represent the company really well. I mean, the Fox is, we got a bizarre sense of humor. Oh my goodness, do they take anything serious? Everything's a joke. It's constant, and joking around and tricksters and nonstop shenanigans and getting involved in everything is kind of very representative of the company. It can, we are certainly the ones that are, running around committing pranks and shenanigans and laughing and, do you take anything serious? So I think that's probably a pretty good perspective of what MDD is. And we do try and make sure that nobody else takes themselves too seriously, right? I feel like we try and remind the tower that it's for fun. Like, come to TarValon to have fun. It is serious. And like what Sora was saying about brotherhood and, and I'll speak also, and I'll let Atan also speak to it in Val'Cueran, because I know that's a huge characteristic, but it is serious. But at the same time, I mean, let's have a little fun, let's have a little laity and smile about it a little bit. So that's MDD. Did I get it somewhat right?
Yeah, no.
Well done, sir. Well done.
You're the only one. Nobody can touch
Yeah,
you.
you're right.
As someone who seriously considered MDD, I know
Thank
it's shocking.
you. Yes.
Can I add my just
Yeah.
quick
Yeah,
50 seconds?
definitely.
I've always, as someone who loves Norse mythology, I've always very much associated an MDD Gaidin with Loki.
Yeah.
It's not that he's not serious,
Right.
but there's definitely that air of playfulness about everything you guys do, and I think it does bring a nice spice to the garrison.
Yeah. Thank
You're
you,
here.
Sarah.
All right, we've heard NDD. Who wants to go next?
I can go next.
Let's do it. Let's hear it.
Val'Cueran, again, and to be quite fair to all of our companies, there is always going to be a sense of brotherhood, of sisterhood in our companies. Like, we are going to, I think, do our best to make sure that our members are welcomed, that our members feel a bond with our individual companies, and to say that, to an extent, all of our companies are very alike in that sense. Val'Cueran, again, we place a lot of emphasis on unity, on desiring to make sure that the tower is, staying strong, if you will. We desire that the tower be protected, and again, just the ability to, again, just as the foxes do, and the bears and the hawks, we like to have our own fun, in our Discord mostly. And again, the ability to desire making sure that the tower stands strong, and that there are people, in a sense, defending the tower from any sort of unfortunate, misdeeds that may have happened in the past and hopefully don't happen again in the future.
Here.
Who's up next?
Will, knock it out. Or at least
Knock
get
it
us
out.
started.
I mean, you're the storyteller in the group.
Okay, I will tell you one of our traditions.
Ours meeting.
SDS.
There you go.
Way back when, we found this little gentleman who decided to join our company. His name was Donovan. And, his home life, his family life was not the best. He had issues, and he didn't feel like a part of that family. Well, when he joined and guested with us and then eventually joined, he felt like we made a home for him, and we became his family. So, in thanks for doing that, at 4th Annie, he brought a bottle of Don Julio tequila so we could partake in it and show his gratitude for what we've done for him, for building a family for him. And that's how we started our tradition, with having tequila each time we got together, to make each other aware that we care about you. You're part of our family.
I'm going to throw some light back towards SDS, because as I was guesting, I was really drawn to SDS. This is Alex over in the Foxes. And one of their things that there is, if you ever need something done, look around and there's a bear there to do the work. And, I, in my personal life, I believe in a life of service. And that service aspect that the bears kind of represent, everybody, of course, helps out. But it is, you asked about these unique characteristics. And I remember reading about that on the site, and then you're kind of like, yeah, whatever, bullshit, right? Like, it's just a bunch of words. And then going to Annie, and, oh, who's cooking? Oh, the bears are. Oh, who's bringing it? Oh, the bears are. Oh, who's unloading? Oh, the bears are. Right? Like, so there is a real tradition of silent service that the bears have, and that's probably why they don't mention it, because they're silent about working their butts off.
Well,
but it's pretty awesome.
We
It's
don't
pretty awesome.
There is some old history, as Will would call it, to that. Maybe a little bit before the current tower history, but we, always were silently in the Amerlin's corner. It's been a long-standing tradition that as a company, we're there to have the Amerlin's back. It doesn't matter who the serving Amerlin is, but whatever her wishes and needs are, we are there to perform those. No questions asked. It's what we do. There's a long-standing tradition of military service in our company, specifically with the Marine Corps. I think that'll always continue and be a big part of what we do. And, I think a lot of those values have kind of bled into what the company is. Kind of, like you said, that silent service of nobody necessarily asked us to do this,
But it needs done.
but you damn well rest assured that we're going to be the ones who get it done. So,
Hurrah.
And I've had these conversations with all of the Amerlins we've had so far. I've heard something to that effect.
Yeah.
Like some of them have said we're their sword arm whenever they need something done. We're there.
See, my perspective is a little different just because I'm new. I'm not the youngest bear. There is another after me, but I am still very much a baby bear.
Love it.
But my perspective is a little different because before my first parties and stuff like that, like I've always instantly felt safe with SDS in a way that I don't necessarily feel safe with everyone else. Like I know that if like I got drunk, y'all would take care of me and I'd be safe. If I hurt myself, y'all would take care of me and I'd be safe. If someone came at me, y'all would take care of me and I'd be safe. And so it's like this they are the ultimate protectors. Like you are safe with the bears. And like we have somewhat of a womanizing, and I'm not exempt from that either. But like we're respectful and you're safe with us.
So, Anna, I do want to call this out. Is that feeling of safety a matter of preference? Do you feel like other women would feel just as safe with the other women?
Oh, definitely. Like every company is like definitely. I just when I like anytime like I've always turned to the bears even before I even considered turning to the bears as my own user group. Like they were just like, well, they'll handle it. So like
yeah. So it's not that you felt unsafe with the other water companies.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's just like
to this one.
They were visibly safe.
They're huge.
There is
Physically present in the room at all times.
I mean, I'm looking at I first met Sorrow today, and he walked up to me and say hi, and I was like, "You're a giant." So it's yes, they're visible.
I'm a Viking. What can I say?
They're visible and safe.
Sorrow does present a very imposing figure. Yes. All right, so we haven't heard from Ivanor yet.
Yeah, I'm being quiet over here in the corner. DM, is really hard for me to describe. It's been a lot of things over the last years that I've been a part of the tower. When I first joined, like the 3 or 4 of the highest posting people on the tower were DM, and they were everywhere, and that's what I saw everywhere in like the late aughts, early 2010s. It was all DM everywhere. And that was the thing. They were everywhere. They had their hands in everything. They were they were just into everything. Mm-hmm. And there were so many people behind the scenes that were DM that no one knew about. I mean, SDS is always there to help you out, and they're there, and you can always count on them. But then how long was the back end, I guess, the nuts and bolts of the servers and running the site? That was done by a lot of DMs, TarValon, and here more recently, Deo and those guys. They just kept the physical site going. And you didn't see those guys post a whole lot, but the other guys, they were everywhere. One of our favorites, Jane, he was a posting maniac, fiend, crazy. And it was a feeling of making everyone welcome. And we do that still in DM. If anybody comes to guest with us and then they go on somewhere else, we'll invite them back. Like, they don't have to ever leave us if they don't want to. I was like, well, you're not the right company for me. You don't fit well with me. It's like, we're like, hey, that's cool. do you want to come back and stay in our chat and chat with us? And they're like, okay, sure, why not? And we'll vote on it. And I've yet to see maybe one, get rejected. And that's kind of what DM has become, is that we'll accept everybody that comes through. I guess here recently, we feel like we've lost ourselves a little bit in accepting everyone. So, but that's okay.
It's all part of the plan.
Yeah, it's all part of the plan. Everybody asks what the plan is, and the answer is
Midwest
yes.
See, each of the companies is a different part. SDS is the strength of the tower. We're the brawn. We're still smart. We still have heart, but we're the brawn. VC is the heart of the tower. DM is the head. And DD is the spirit. And it's like we're all different parts of a whole. And like you were saying, like visibly security, SDS is visibly security, and you guys are the ones who are like the tech and everything. You guys are the mind. It's so important. It's so important. It's vital. We would not be here as a site without the work of DM. We wouldn't be where we are without the spirit and the heart that VC and MDD bring to us. Like both of you bring us different sides of like humor and lightheartedness, and then we are the strong silent types. We're laconic.
So I do want to highlight what you just said, Anna, because I think what you just said was really what I've been sitting here and trying to think about. Okay, if we were to try to summarize what each of the companies really embody, I think you said it beautifully. SDS is the strength. VC is really the heart. DM really being the brains of the operation, and NDD being the spirit. And I think that is beautiful, the way that you summarize that. I really wanted to call that out explicitly, because that's how I, as someone who is not a company member, not a soldier, not a recruit, that's how I see the companies. And I think highlighting that explicitly it was just a beautiful way to summarize what each of you embody.
I think it's a great way to break it down in simplest terms possible.
The library, that's how they kind of have us described. I mean,
There's a little line about which one of us we are.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wish I could take good credit.
it's very cliche. It seems cliche, but it's not. It's true. It's just kind of how it is. And
It really does
people
work out
tend
that
to
way.
people
That's
tend
the
to
thing.
gravitate to their type of person. We all get along well together.
Oh, yeah.
We all love hanging out and being nerds together. But if you ever have a giant group of people, you automatically, intrinsically gravitate to your type of people. And that kind of categorizes all of us. And so, I mean, it works. Somehow it works.
I think that's a great point, Ivanor, because I feel like there's a little bit of each company in all of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Certainly.
I've got a big SDS streak. I mean,
I feel like any one of us could fit into each of the different groups.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think every one of us who has chosen a specific group knows the reason, like, hey, this is why I feel like I'm more at home here than other places. You know? I think it's why I would like to think that the four companies are so closely together, especially now more than ever with our numbers being a little bit lower than they have been traditionally. We definitely work together, and it feels more like a cohesive group now than it ever has in the past.
Well, the parts do make the whole, right?
Yeah.
And it's about the whole. It's not about the parts.
Right.
I mean,
You take one part away,
it doesn't
the
work.
whole doesn't work.
Yeah.
The head,
you
heart, and
need
body can't do
all
shit
the
without the
parts.
spirit, and vice versa.
So we are coming up on time, guys, but I do want to give everybody, as individuals, not as companies, if you wanted to say anything to anybody who is considering joining any of the companies, not yours, because we're not recruiting. But if you wanted to say anything to anybody who is considering joining a order company, what would you say?
I'll speak up for DM right now. Just because we're quiet right now doesn't mean we're not present. I know that our presence on the boards has decreased drastically from its peak back 6-8 years ago. Lots of things have caused that, and real life. You know, we're all a lot of strangers online that came together to join a family. And families change. You know, people come, people go. There are waves. And I'll admit, right now, DM is quiet right now. As company commander, I'm trying to help us come out of that. But just so you know, anybody out there listening, that just because we're quiet, it's not that we don't care. We do care. It's just real life has gotten all of us here recently, and yeah, we're there. We're listening.
The real life monster's above you.
It is.
You know, I want to build off that a little bit, and I'll say it with the foxes as well on MDD. You know, sometimes we think very monochromatically or very statically, and you said the word change, right? And we've talked about how each company is this thing, but that thing changes, right? Like, you know, I mean, you can still be, well, I'll take it to my company. You can still be funny and a trickster, but that fun and trick spirit might be different than what it was 10 years ago. And it might be different in 10 years, right? So don't get so stuck. If you're going to come to a company and you think that it's like this monolithic concrete, this is the way. No, that's the Mandalorian, and that's a different fan site. Right?
Completely different fandom.
You know, come here and understand the spirit. And in MDD, when we do this, we ask people to be very real and forthright with us as a company. We don't, in the company, we don't do RP. We don't, you know, it's very forthright and frank. But it changes over time. You know, it changes, and you have to allow humans that capacity to change because we are human. So that's my MDD perspective.
And I feel like every individual member who comes into a company brings something that may change the overall feeling of that company. That's not to say that it's going to change overnight or that it's going to have a different feel, but I feel like the personality, the strengths and the weaknesses of that individual member really add something to the group as a whole. And like you said, it's ever evolving. You know, yes, we all have our stereotypes that we're kind of pigeonholed into, but I don't feel like that means that it's that way forever. You know, I certainly view the companies today in 2023 differently than I did in 2006 when I joined the tower. You know, there's been an evolution of that feeling, of the personalities, of what the individual members bring. And I think that's an ever-evolving thing. So like you said, I don't think people should be intimidated or hesitant about joining a certain group just because I feel like I don't have these specific qualities that they value. Because it may be you joining that group that evolves that company into what it's going to become eventually.
I can speak to that. When I started guesting, I knew I was going for a company. But the last company on my list was actually SDS because I knew you guys in chat. But I liked hanging out with the bears, but I didn't see myself as a bear. And it actually took one of our brothers. I met them for dinner and I was like, I'm not getting that aha moment, that click where you're like, this is my home. I didn't find it. I've been everywhere at this point, and I didn't find it. And finally, one of our brothers said, where do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, oh, here's my aha moment.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, well, then SDS. And there it was. It wasn't even on my radar until he asked me that question. I was like, oh, the creed, the bears, because the bears have a creed. And that's actually what caught my attention. And I love the creed. If I don't care. It's why I'm here. If all of you disappeared, I'd still be here because of the creed. The creed matters more than it's a big deal to me.
We were joking about the Mandalorian. This is the way.
I want to hear from my wolf brother.
So really my advice to anybody considering the companies, really, or any membership group, is one, yes, consider the history, certainly, but also get to know the people in the membership group. Because, again, as everyone has said, we all emulate and uphold our company values in different ways as time passes. So, yes, get to know the history, but get to know the people. Because as you look at some of the identities of the companies, don't overlook the forest for the trees. And again, just consider the history, but more than that, consider the people.
Nice.
Well said.
Well said.
Yep.
Well said.
Hey, before you wrap it up, you were
I'm
gonna do a
not
Gaidin
wrapping it up.
toast.
I'm not
You were gonna
wrapping
do a
it up. We
Gaidin
got
toast.
Will.
Oh, Will.
It's like,
Mr.
yeah,
Will.
You're gonna close it out for
Sir.
us.
The will.
All
got a
you
piece to
guys
say.
go and stealing parts of my ideas. But here's my advice for someone who's wanting to join a water company. You know, the ideals of the company, they may not be your ideals. But if you know the people, then you know the heart of the matter, and you may grow to exemplify those ideals. It's not necessarily, you know, you bring your ideals in, it's you picking up their ideals, and it's like looking at all your mentors, people that, you know, were in the company before you, the company commander, looking and seeing what he does.
Are you sure you're not that old guy on the Cracker Barrel?
And the thing
Well said. Well said.
there are very few people left of the people I consider, you know, old tower people. I mean, there are people I've known for years, but it's like, oh, they're still young. I only joined the
Young Master again.
Sorry, Will. Sorry.
Are we gonna have to change your name from Battle Bear to Snorting Bear?
Oh my god.
I can't help it.
Will's over here trying to be serious.
Hey, as the baby Gaidin, we were going to have a Gaidin toast.
We are, yes.
So I will start the toast
Are you gonna do it now?
to the other companies.
Oh.
So as MDD, I want to toast the other companies, DM, Val'Cueran, SDS. It's an honor and a privilege to serve with each of them.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. I guess if we're going around toasting, I'll go next. Toasting while getting
I don't know
toasted.
what that is.
I mean, I've got a
All right.
to James.
To Jane.
To James.
He was one of a kind.
Indeed.
Indeed.
And
Indeed.
Are we going circular? I
Yeah,
suppose
we are. We are. You're next, buddy.
the wheel of time
Yeah.
is a circle.
These are beginning.
We
We are
are
beginning. We are new
We
endings.
are but spokes in the wheel.
But again, like really, ultimately, to the unity of the tower.
Nice.
I love
Cheers.
it. I love it.
Oh, it's my turn.
No snorting.
I will try not to.
I give you two.
I already did too. To our newest Gaidin, to the tower for not insisting that female Gaidin be called Gaidar.
You're
Yay.
You're here.
Amen.
I would like to toast to all of our. Are we still calling them senior members? Are we trying
For
to
now.
do that?
For
Senior
now.
members?
For now.
We're working on it.
We're working on it. Okay, let's workshop that.
There's one.
All of our
One more.
senior members who have helped to shape the companies through
Yeah.
the years, who are not necessarily here now, but they are 100% here in spirit and who
Amen.
we are and what we do, and hopefully what we do moving forward.
Here, here.
You're here.
Here.
All right, Will.
All right.
Get off that
As,
Cracker Barrel.
As the oldest Gaidin here, I say welcome, youngest Gaidin,
Hey,
to us.
my unofficial
like
mentor
us.
to you, brother.
Damn few of us.
And they're all dead.
And as your podcast host, I feel the privilege.
And
to
the
speak.
newest Blade Master.
And the newest Jordan
Yeah,
Collins.
yeah.
Blade Master.
Yes.
Golf clap.
Here, thank you, Soro. Here is to all four of our water companies here at TarValon.net. Thank you so very, very much for taking time out of your day, taking your time out of Spring Fling to come and share with us exactly what it means to be in a water company, what it means to be a Gaidin. Not many people know what the hell that means. So here is to all of you, and thank you very, very much.
Salute.
And to Al Gore and inventing the internet.
I hope you enjoyed our Gaidin takeover from Spring Fling 2023. Coming up next is a special moment brought to you by the Keeper and the Gaidin of Val'Cueran.
Dad, there's a reason I'm here. And it's because Cassie's asleep. Aside from that, Madhar, please summon our candidate for rededication.
Thad, you are hereby summoned for rededication. This is where you pretend I'm standing next to you.
You should have had stick figure art ready, that's fine. Who comes here?
That guy, unaffiliated of the tower.
For what reason do they come?
To re-swear their oaths to the tower, and thereby reclaim the duties of Gaidin.
By what right do they claim this duty?
By right of having made the passage, submitting themselves to the will of the White Tower.
Then enter if you dare and re-swear your oaths to the White Tower. Repeat after me. Under the light and by my hope of salvation and rebirth.
Under the light and by my hope of salvation and rebirth.
I vow to honor my word.
I vow to honor my word.
Under the light and by my hope of salvation and rebirth.
Under the light and by my hope and salvation of rebirth.
I vow that I will not use my strength against another sibling.
I vow that I will not use my strength against another sibling.
But to come to their aid when they have need of it.
But to come to their aid when they have need of it.
Under the light and by my hope of salvation and rebirth.
Under the light and by my hope of salvation and rebirth.
I vow to defend the tower and its people.
I vow to defend the tower and its people.
So that the walls of TarValon may never fall.
So the walls of TarValon may never fall.
It is half done, and your oaths are yours to carry. Rise now, Gaidin, and choose your company, and all will be done that may be done under the light. Just pretend that you're...
Choose the red one. VC.
I was like, no.
I was like, hang on a damn minute.
At this point, it's you guys. You guys go, speak.
Oh, yes. Welcome home, brother.
Welcome home, brother.
Yes, welcome.
Yeah, welcome home. Very much so.
Oh, by the way, we can't send you out, into the wilderness to get a knife. Go find one at your house. You have to take us with you.
I think it's a little late for that, Veriendha.
Yeah.
Is this like a VC hazing tradition or something? Please find a knife.
Would it be inappropriate if you came back with a pint of beer with a knife and did that?
I would be impressed, honestly.
It just so happens I have a 100-year-old Mexican fighting knife.
Hey, that works.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's so fancy. I expected a butter knife.
Same.
You won the blade lottery. Congrats.
Hell yeah. That's cool as hell.
I inherited it from my grandfather recently.
Does it have a sheath? Or is it just for stabby?
It's a fighting knife, so you tell me.
We don't believe in sheaths around here.
I would worry about poking holes in things I didn't want holes in, so...
It is very sharp, despite being 100 years old.
Nice.
This is the part where we do the blood oath, so we just gotta...
Right, yeah.
See, I've always had a problem to where they do it in the hand because, it hurts there.
Right?
Why not do it somewhere on the arm or something?
How can you type if you've got a giant gash in your hand? I mean, typing is important.
Yeah, I suppose it's all about the sacrifice.
What's the important
How many pints of blood can you lose? Anyway, thank you guys for having me. I really need to go pass out. It's been a long day. But, yay, Thad!
Yay!
Congratulations to Thaddeus Algai, Gaidin of Val'Cueran. In our last segment of the very first season of TarValon Talks, our hosts Thad, Doll, and Fenya sit down with our producer Veriendha and talk about their favorite parts of Season 1 and discuss the plans for Season 2.
Hi, and welcome to the last episode of Season 1 of TarValon Talks. I'm Veriendha, and I'm joined by Doll, Thad, and Fenya. We're here today to discuss some of our favorite things that went down during Season 1, talk about what we're hoping to get to in Season 2, and talk a little bit about what our plans are for this summer. So starting off, crew, what was your favorite part, your favorite thing to discuss, your favorite thing that happened, your favorite episode of Season 1 of the TarValon Talks podcast?
Is it cheesy to say all of it?
Not at all.
No, because it was really hard. I'm still trying to debate what I'm going to pick, so I was hoping somebody else would go first.
I was going to be really cheesy. I thought it was going to be cheesy to say the JordanCon podcast because we were all together and we were all in person for that one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my other favorite one has got to be the episode all about Billy Zane. I'm not gonna lie.
It's by far the best episode. I mean, we will never live up to that.
No. I mean, the high quality episode there.
We've set such a high bar that there's nowhere to go but down.
unless we keep drinking during our episodes.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are definitely my two. The Billy Zane episode was just hilarious, and then again with Jordan Con, it was just fun to get together and be able to actually like look people in the face and not just on camera.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do that again.
Yeah.
Hopefully sooner than next April.
Yes. So we did do the episode at Annie 2022. It was just a fireside chat with a bunch of other Gaidin.
Mostly grays.
Grace that I, yeah. We might mix it up this year a little bit, but I definitely see us.
Well, that's because I barged into the gray cabin and I was just like, hey, we're doing a podcast.
Thad knows how to wrangle a crew.
Mm.
But yeah, I definitely, I guess that would be one thing to look forward to in season 2 is I don't see us not doing another episode at Annie, and it would be a shame if we failed to do so at JordanCon next year again.
Well, you can count on Doll and I both being at JordanCon.
I suppose.
And I think there's no chance that Dianna and I are going to miss JordanCon, so.
Hopefully I will have more time next year. I really doubt it, but we'll make it work again.
Isn't that the hope every year?
Yeah, every year. Well, maybe I'll get more sleep this year. Never happened.
I say this with love, Doll. I'll believe it when I see it.
Me too. Yeah. I have to say, I really enjoyed digging into the episodes with you guys, and hearing your favorite part was so much more interesting than just watching it by myself. Even if we weren't watching it together, but talking about it and getting to notice those things that other people picked up and the interpretations that other people had. I really enjoyed that too.
Yeah, obviously I loved the JordanCon episode. Like hanging out in person to record was a lot of fun. So that was for sure a highlight. But just overall, I think because I'm such a newcomer to Wheel of Time, like hearing the depth of knowledge that you guys all have was really fascinating, because that's something that I don't think I'll ever acquire, just because I don't think I'll ever read the books quite as often as you have.
Oh, you'll get there.
I mean, all you have to do is read them one more time to meet me, so.
Okay, but you still have kind of like an encyclopedic knowledge of what happens in those books that even if I read the books 5 more times, I would not get that.
Just keep talking about it for 20 more years, and then,
That's kind of the plan.
Yeah, I'll have been talking about it 40 years at that point, so I don't know that you'll catch up, but you'll get to where I am now, and then 40
I'll be happy with that. I might not catch up to your knowledge, but I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, I'm not like Dad. Dad's the one that reads them every other year. I don't know how you do that.
Easy. You don't pay attention to anything else. That's anytime anybody has to, let's talk about movies or other book series. I'm like, I know Wheel of Time. I know some Brandon Sanderson, but that's really the extent. It's the extent for me. I'm like, I could read other books, but then I'd lose Wheel of Time knowledge because I have one brain cell. And it is pretty much.
You're an orange cat. You have the one brain cell.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
All right, so Thad, I think you're the last one up. What was your favorite part of season 1?
Favorite part? Well, obviously the JordanCon episode, but if we're going to do live in-person episodes, if we have to choose one that way, I actually like talking about the slog, because that is such a decisive kind of discussion among people, to where it for me is different for you, for Fenya, for Doll, but there's the general consensus of what it is, but I don't agree with that.
Yeah, that was an interesting topic.
I'm really glad we tackled that one, because I remember, and I think I said this, I don't think I was a host during that episode, but when it comes to the slog, I like it, but whenever I tell other people, it's not that bad, some people they get a little feisty when it comes to that. I'm not gonna lie,
they get very feisty.
They have opinions.
People will stand up on high and tell you that Crossroads of Twilight is the worst book ever, and it's like, well, if you hate that, you hate Winter's Heart too.
That is true.
Again, I don't know titles, so I have no idea where this falls.
Books 9 and books 10, because they're happening basically simultaneously.
Yeah, it's basically the same week, 2 weeks of time just told in 5 different points of view sequentially.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I don't want to rehash this argument.
Too late.
Because we're talking about.
We're already here.
I feel like we did an episode on this.
We're talking about other episodes, but I think even though they take place in the same, they're different character sets in each book, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one book can be a slog and the other one might not be. Like it's not by default. They're both. If one of them is a slog, both of them are slogs.
I think the biggest problem with Crossroads was because it was, instead of going back and forth from point of view, you just saw the same 2 weeks like all the way through, so it was like just rehashing the same events from different points of view.
I mean, I genuinely don't remember what happens in those books, so
it's basically everything leading up to when Rand cleansed the taint, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like it was that and the waiting for 4 or 5 years for a book and just it not actually advancing the plot an hour.
Good old scrubbing of that taint.
That is never not going to be old. Okay, all right. So we decided on our favorite parts of season 1. What are we really hoping to get to in season 2 that is not season 2 of the TV show?
Well, darn.
I was gonna say Verin.
Yeah, I agree with Doll on that one.
Yep.
You know, I'm always interested in talking about, you know, big characters that aren't main characters. And, you know, stuff like that would be the 5 great captains. I can't remember if we actually had done this in any of the episodes, but that would be something great to talk about.
Well, we had the one that you weren't in.
Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks.
Well, we didn't do the 5 great captains. We did characters like
Right.
the lesser known characters.
Lesser known, but characters you like. But, you know, specifically here, big characters that aren't main characters.
Yeah.
You know.
We did TarValon, Bane and Chiad, in which I said I don't think they're going to be on the TV show, and then like between the recording it and editing it, they released the thing at Jordan Con with Bane and Chiad, so I'm going to look like an idiot when it comes out after the con. But
put in a little editor's note.
Yeah, I should go back and add an editor's note.
I have been disproved here.
Editor's note. Yes, I know.
That we did not do the 5 great captains though, so
we'll save that for you.
Yeah, that we could definitely tackle in season 2.
Yeah, I think more character deep dives would be a lot of fun to do. I also think that there's room for an interesting discussion about characters we didn't like and why we didn't like them. I don't know if I have an answer to a character I didn't like, but I think that it could possibly be a fun thing to talk about.
Gives you time to really think and harbor the hate for that character.
Exactly.
Like characters we didn't like or characters we don't like as people but love to hate.
I mean, there's lots of room for interpretation there.
I know who I've got. I know who I'm going to drag down to the bottom of the ocean with me.
Phil?
No, Matt.
I'm going to have to take Dianna kicking and screaming.
I just need the power to put her on mute.
I want to be there for that recording.
I don't know. She's got a pretty good like encyclopedic knowledge, just like Thad and Doll does. So I don't know. I don't know if I can hang.
I mean, she does. She knows a ton of Wheel of Time trivia and lore.
We need to do a trivia night then with a podcast episode. Truly test our knowledge. You know.
That's a good idea.
That's a really good idea.
Put ourselves on blast. Spoilers. I will be last. I'm terrible at trivia.
I think that you will be ahead of me. So
as long as it's not flags, like I don't know if you remember all those years at Dragon Con.
Yeah.
When Shannon was running it.
Mm-hmm.
It was always about the flags. I'm like, I don't know. And the big white book is wrong. So flags are just flags.
Yep, I got a bunch of flag questions on my trivia stuff, so I was immediately out.
The ones I knew, like other people would be out. And I'm like, I could have answered that one. You get to me and they're like, which flag is the like 3 fish and the blue and silver? And I'm just like, what?
The only one I can remember is Ilion. The bees. The bees.
The bees. That one, yeah.
That doesn't sound fun at all.
Shannon just really liked the flag.
Can we make our trivia time more fun?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, somebody's got to write the trivia question.
Yeah.
So,
like, no offense to Shannon or anything, but damn. All right, Doll, what do you want to do in season 2? What are you looking forward to?
that sort of already took what I was thinking. Like, I want to dive more into the lesser known characters. Like, I think we had fun talking about them and like a really good discussion even the parts we cut out were interesting.
Maybe those can go to Patreon.
Maybe we shall see.
Awesome.
If you want to learn about Chuck Tingle and how Chuck Tingle relates to the Wheel of
I feel like that is genuinely good Patreon content.
It is.
Also, listeners, there's a TarValon Patreon where you can get excerpts from episodes that don't make it into the final cut.
Boy, you want to talk Chuck Tingle, you need to get Talon on for that.
Who is that?
One of the Browns. Talon?
Oh, you said Talon.
I've said it those two ways the entire time.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yes.
Talon.
No, we have to bring the whole Brown Ajit in on that one.
Ooh, we might have to add to that episode. All right, guys. Anything else we want to call out from season 1 or anything else we're looking forward to with season 2?
Verin.
Verin.
More of all the Verin.
Verin, I'm sorry. I'm excited. We have confirmation, and we have an image, and we have a rumored Cadswain.
A rumored Cadswain, yes. Looking forward to that being confirmed.
I mean, we've had rumors of that for quite some time.
Yeah. Literal years at this point.
Because she'd be so good at it.
Yeah.
I do hope we get a confirmation though. That would be exciting.
Other things from season 1. Just getting to know this group and learning more about each of you individually and forming a cohesive team has just been so much fun. And hey, we got mugs. We got matching mugs now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, or we will soon. Some of us don't have them yet.
Dianna and I have our mugs.
Everybody but me and Thad, because the East Coasters don't have them.
They're making their way across the country.
Yeah, they're making their way.
Fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I think it was very exciting to win the Officer Awards. I don't even remember what we won.
Yep, it was the Officer Award.
Best new initiative, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, I have to say.
Yeah, definitely wasn't expecting that. I'm just here to have a good time. And we're getting rewarded for it.
Yes.
Please send the check to my house directly.
As somebody who has never done a podcast ever in my entire life and having absolutely no idea how to run a podcast, much less
says the producer.
Right. I can manage projects, and so this felt like a project. I am very, very thankful that you all know what you're doing. And you can kind of be like, no, very.
It worked. It worked. You fell for it.
Fake it till you make it.
You guys are excellent at faking it then. But this has been a really awesome learning experience for me. And it's really kind of cool that I get to tell people, be like, yeah, I can't do that. I'm recording for my podcast. Because it sounds so super cool.
You get to join the ranks of people who have a podcast.
That's right.
Literally billions.
I still feel special. Don't take this away from me.
Hey, it's still less than half the population of the Earth, so.
That's true.
Count it. So just so everybody who is listening knows, the TarValon Talks team is going to be taking a little bit of a summer break. We will not be recording any new material in June or July. Our first release of episode 1 of season 2 will be at the beginning of August 2023. In the meantime, we will be doing our research. We will be taking a look at all the fabulous new material that we'll be putting together for season 2. So if you missed any episodes, or if you really want to go back and re-listen to the entirety of season 1, please feel free to do so. In the meantime, though, since we are going to be on hiatus for June and July, we do want to make sure everybody is aware of what our Servant of All team is up to for those 2 months. So, Fenya, would you like to share what that info is?
Yes. So in June, similar to last year, the Servant of All team is again bringing awareness to Pride, a celebration and commemoration of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender pride. Pride Month began after the Stonewall riots, a series of gay liberation protests in 1969, and has since spread worldwide. We'll explore its roots and celebrate our pride and our awesome LGBTQIA+ members. And then in July, we'll be exploring the important topic of food sovereignty, bringing awareness to the challenges surrounding food sovereignty, as well as specific actions that we can take as servants of all to help each other and our communities achieve food sovereignty.
And that brings us to the end of the episode and the end of season 1. The TarValon Talks team would like to thank all of you, our listeners, for chiming in, for listening to, for providing all of your feedback, providing us with new topics and new questions to ask on the podcast, and to the tarvalon.net site for giving us this awesome opportunity to be able to get on here and talk about one of our favorite book series of all time, The Wheel of Time. Thank you all. And if you have any questions or any suggestions for season 2, please feel free to email us at producer.tdt@gmail.com. And we would love to hear any of your ideas to keep this thing going through season 2 and beyond. Thanks, everybody.
Also, send all your Matt hate to Dianna.
Yes, please.
Also, if anything exciting happens in June or July, we will be back with the sounding of the horn. Just in case.
Oh, you know it.
So fingers crossed you will actually be hearing from us in June and July.